A renewed push to enforce English proficiency requirements for truck drivers is sparking debate locally and nationally.
Yeah, last year, President Donald Trump signed an executive order which led to this spike in citations. Now, under the order, drivers who don't meet English proficiency standards can be placed out of service. So the blue line represents those spikes that started in May of 2025. The yellow line represents violations that led to a driver being placed out of service.
Now, some say this will make our roads safer, while others are questioning if the data supports that. Harrison Belsanti spoke to the owner of a Scott County-based trucking company who says it's all about safety.
For trucking companies, rules around who can get behind the wheel are under the spotlight. At Hoker Trucking LLC, owner Jeff Hoker says stronger enforcement of English proficiency requirements is needed.
It's a safety thing more than anything, right? I mean, it's all about safety. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year making sure that we have drivers that can be on the road, that are, trained to be on the road. I mean, if you can't even see a simple road sign or read a stop sign, a yield sign, a speed limit sign, whatever it might be, then now it comes into a bigger safety concern.
Hoker points to crashes around the country, saying concerns like this aren't isolated. When asked for nationwide data linking language barriers to more crashes, which we could not verify, Hoker pointed to his own experience. But not everyone agrees. Joe Henry, political director for LULAC of Iowa, says drivers already need to demonstrate English proficiency to get a CDL and questions whether stricter enforcement is backed by nationwide data.
We don't have any data from a reliable source that would indicate that. And again, this seems to be a smokescreen, just an attack on those from immigrant communities. It could force some people who already have jobs at these trucking companies to lose their opportunities unless they have a union.
Now, federal rules have long required CDL drivers to understand English for decades, with the current standards being in place since at least the 1970s. However, some of that enforcement is tightening, raising new questions across the industry.
It's got absolutely nothing to do with racism. This is 100% safety across the board.
And as enforcement ramps up, the debate continues over safety, staffing, and the impact it could have on drivers across the industry. In Dixon, Harrison Belsanti, WQAD News 8.
And while the data shows enforcement has increased, it's unclear if that's resulting in safer streets. A University of Tennessee at Knoxville study published in October tracked safety indicators for drivers cited under the language rule. Now, that study found those drivers do have worse safety scores on average.
It does also note this does not mean the language barrier is the cause. Instead, it may be a correlation. For example, drivers who don't speak English may be pushed by carriers to stay on the road for longer than safety laws allow.